So, I mean, and again, this is going back to, if I'm a marketer, somebody runs in and says, oh my God, Kim Kardashian did this. We should spend $5 million to do this once. Talk about, the importance of understanding that one-offs are probably not the best way to do this.
Yeah, I think what we try to preach on is scale, right? I mean, again, I feel like that's a 5-year-old mentality where they're looking for some viral video or they're looking for the ability to get into some great content once. I hope nobody's thinking along the lines of this once is going to save my product or is going to save my business for the long term. We try to, again, our operations policies and procedures are in place so that we can scale the content. And we do that we publish hundreds of videos every single month to make sure that the brand lift and the brand awareness is there and that it stays there and it remains at the top. And so, you could by happenstance or through the PR approach get into some of these videos, but again, it's not going to last and it's not going to have a great return. We've been there, we've done that, right? We put products and services into videos that have gone viral, and it just doesn't work, So we are here to scale it, and we want to be able to be into relationships that are for long-term investment for both the influencer and the brand. Again, it kind of goes back to that consensus triangle where the relationship is mutually beneficial, and it can be a scalable approach.
Yeah, and I think another aspect that's important is I like to kind of relate it to like an investment portfolio. If everyone goes and sells, I'll use, I'm not making fun of the Bitcoin. I'm using it as an example, okay? But if everyone went out and sold their house and put all their life savings into Bitcoin, that's like you're putting a lot into one basket, which is kind of how a one-off works, right? Where you're saying, all right, let's try out this influencer marketing thing, and let's run a video with this person because they have the most subscribers on YouTube. It's kind of like you're just jumping on what's trending in a hope to have it just be this one-shot wonder. And the reality is you really need to diversify it, because just like any other form of marketing, you're going to have ups and downs. And so if you have a down on that one-off, you're going to kind of look silly. But if you're nice and diversified, then any kind of loss that you suffer is going to be more than compensated for by the other influencers you work with, or the strategies you employ, or what have you. And you can optimize it over the long term. Whereas a one-off, you just kind of do it, you learn, you say, oh, that was fun. What should we do next year? Whereas a longer-term thing gives you the opportunity to optimize towards different goals, or learn more about influencers and find better partnerships.
Yep, and this is Jake. That brings up a good point about utilizing about one-offs and utilizing one specific influencer. We have a lot of people come to us and they really like a specific influencer's content, and they say, I've got to get into their content, and they're emotionally attached to the influencer rather than going off a scaled approach or even off of analytics and data. And that's kind of like a real estate investor's approach to being emotionally attached to a house rather than looking at the bottom line. It's not smart, and it's going to burn you in the end. So, you asked about policies earlier. One of our policies is that we build a scaled approach with brands and clients so that we can look at the bottom line and figure out what's going to be the best return for them. And one of those in our policies is that we reach out to influencers. One of the first things we always do is gauge the passion level of the influencer, because that passion will always show in the content. And we may reach out to an influencer that looks like they're going to be the perfect fit for a specific brand or product, but if the passion's not there, we don't want to be in that content because it'll never end well for us.
It's interesting. Yeah, it makes total sense too.
You hearing a theme here, Doug?
Yeah, I got you. So,
the other thing is there's always timing and stuff. I was just going to say, so the reason you don't do one-off is we've got to have a large list of influencers to work with, because if that one influencer that you're really passionate about isn't passionate about your product or service, or doesn't have the time, or is way out of your price range, there's always got to be a plan B, C, and D.
How many influencers do you have on your roster right now? Ballpark.